So now we have our lines for where the foundations should be dug, and one of those lines are the actual plant room. Now, the plant room is this notch on the right, so we haven't been able to dig it flat because the sides are going to help form part of the shuttering. Although we decided the sides are too high, unnecessarily high, and they will need to be dug down to facilitate some of the drainage and retaining walls that will go in the side. So digging them off. Hopefully I'm digging these off without upsetting the position of the markers that say where the slab is supposed to be built. And so far that seems to be working out. I don't think I've changed anything substantially. Once you've got all these surveyed line markers, you do end up needing to measure their position off other things so you can take them out and then put them back. As Carol and Keith come for their update on how we're doing. Always nice to show them round. Actually, these lines on the ground, they're getting a bit better idea of exactly what's going to happen. Now off goes the soil, carefully zigzagging around the maze of layout pins. Be nice to have finished doing all the digging, which well, no, we haven't finished it yet. But the house part is done. There's more service trenches to dig, and well, I'm saying that out of turn because clearly I haven't even dug the foundations on this video yet. I'm checking that I'm lined up with my line. So yeah, hopping in and out to check I'm straight onto the line. Can't really see from in the cab. Have to get out, have a look. And when I'm happy, I can dig to that line, make a nice straight edge. And then the same along the back wall. Oh, I might be actually putting the string up. So I've got a string to work to. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Now let's dig this out. Again, jumping in and out and making sure I'm square and checking again and adjusting it. Now just a little bit off really. It wasn't very much, but of course the not very much ends up to be a massive amount of soil that then needs to go away. It's a better bucket for loading soil. Around the maze. Managed to do all that driving around the maze without bumping into any other pins. Just quite impressed by that. That was me driving it and Paula driving it. Neither of us bumped into anything. Having to handle the soil more carefully than usual because I don't want to cover up pins and lines and make a mess where we've got it all flat. Yeah, I was testing the handbrake here because one of the things we've got to do is plate testing to make sure the ground is hard enough for the crane. So I wanted to make sure the handbrake held well, and there it was. Adjusted the handbrake up, left it while I had lunch. Handbrake's pretty solid now. And this was a bit high, I thought. It ended up being a bit low. In fact, that was where I'm working now. That ended up, some of that was like some of the lowest on that patch that there was, and it was definitely lower than it was supposed to be. But it's going to be alright. As our builder says, you can usually fix things. Right, he might even say you can always fix things. So, although this isn't strictly speaking a foundation, it is part of the foundation. So this is some of the first construction work we've done. Although it's still taking material away, so it still feels a bit like destruction rather than construction. Get rid of this soil. Get this soil out. Round the maze. Getting bored of this video, I speeded it up faster and faster. Back with the bucket on backwards. That's always good fun. Yeah, if you don't put it on backwards, there's a point where you feel like you've got a dustpan and no brush, because you're just pushing it along, and if it's a relatively small pile of soil, it's not going to stay in the bucket. It's just going to push along. If you only got a little bit, it's like here, I'm just pushing it into a bigger pile. So the work is getting it so there isn't any where I'm pushing it away from. Then actually putting the soil into the dumper is just a few scoops. Like, that's the easy part. Putting the bucket back the right way round, getting the soil off the blade and the grease nipples. So we thought while we were here, we would make sure the soil was definitely solid and compact it. Got quite a lot of weight on these tyres. Probably something like 1.5 tons on each of the front tyres. Maybe a little bit more. And then pumped up quite hard too. There's a lot of business with the surveying stick and the laser that I've cut out of this video because it was just getting too much. Too boring watching someone walk around with a stick. But it has to be done. It was within about 50 millimeters, I think, in the end, overall. And there we are. We've got a surveying posts in for the foundations. And we've started doing the foundation slab for the plant room.